What's going on, guys? Pix here, bringing you another squad builder on FIFA 18, and I didn't remember to record the traditional squad builder recording that I usually get with the goals and assists of all the players, the in-game stats and everything, but I did find a recording of me putting the team together when I first bought it, so you guys can get that, and you can still get the same experience. I just don't have the goals and assists to back it up, but if you want to see the in-game stats, just go on Foothead, and you can find them there. But I will try and do that for the rest of my squad builders and make sure that I do that. And don't forget, because I do seem to forget to do that quite a bit. But this team was built around Informed Locadia, who is one of the most insane looking informs and one of the most insane looking cards on the game. And I think you only have to pay, at this point, last time I checked, about 14K for him. I spent discard price on him. He's a little bit more now, but still he's just about discard price, which for a card of this stature with those stats, I cannot say he's not worth it. He is absolutely the best value inform you can pick up on this game right now, and I can say that hands down with no hesitation. I mean, if you want an example, just look at this goal right here. He picks up the ball, absolutely almost like that defender, and then look at the finish. The power on that shot and the finish into the top corner was insane. And some of his in-game stats off the top of my head, he has 95 shot power, I think around 86 strength. He has long passing and short passing in the 80s, and also I think 84 or 85 finishing. Which, I mean, those stats on their own are insane, but just the upgrades to this card, you feel them in game. I mean, I never used his regular card for comparison, because it's not a very good looking card. But, I mean, you feel the difference regardless of if you use them or not. You just know that he has these stats when you play with him in game. You can feel the strength, you can feel the pace, you can feel the finishing, the shot power is there. Everything about this card was great, I found, and he has great link-up play with that huge passing upgrade. You can feel it, man. The weight of his passes, even the through balls, and look at how he broke away from that defender there. And then the nice little cutback and set up a little play there. He sort of held the ball to create that space and create that time for, I think that was Cyprian, to put in one of two really weird dipping headers he scored for me. And I guess we'll talk about Cyprian now, because we've already explained why Locadia is amazing. He was seriously amazing. He is, even to this day, one of the best strikers I've used on the game, and I've used quite a few strikers at this point in FIFA. Locadia, because I used this team quite a bit ago, around a month ago when the game first came out, and yeah, even to this day, he's one of the better strikers that I've used in the game. I believe that's another goal from Cyprian, and I think aside from Locadia, Cyprian was the star of the team, aside from him though. He was incredible. I was actually contemplating buying Sanson before I bought Cyprian, but I just liked the look of his card, so I bought him, and he really impressed me. Everything about the card was great. He felt pretty quick in the midfield and explosive, which I think is a very nice trait to have on a midfielder, to just make those runs through the midfielders or your opposing midfielders. It's pretty helpful and made for him to be a huge threat. And as you saw right there, another weird dipping header, and that's actually I think 2 of 3 headers that he scored me. I'm not going to show you the other one, but he scored me actually quite a few headers, so he's an aerial threat. He's aggressive, he has good pace for a midfielder, he has decent dribbling and ball control as well. He can actually take set pieces if you need a set piece taker in your team. He actually has decent set pieces, good long shots and shot power. I found, even though I didn't score any with him, I did find that he for sure has that. He was troubling the keeper with his long shots, and he has decent all-around passing. There's not a single thing that Cyprian lacks there. And another great player of the team was Strootman, definitely the unsung hero of the team. I paid around 7,000 coins for him. I don't think he's going for any more than like 5K now, maybe even like less than 3K now, like the way prices are going nowadays. But Strootman is absolutely worth it. His overall defending, his physicality, his overall passing and vision, his long shots are really great. I think you'll see one at the end of here. Also, he felt like he had good ball control, great composure, and I find that composure does make a difference here. Look at that strike from Noboa. I guess we'll talk about him now. Noboa was a surprisingly super good and balanced midfielder, and he just completed this midfield and made it that much better. The midfield was super balanced, super balancing. All 3 of my midfielders have every stat over 70, I think, except for Strootman and his pace. But that's not bad. That's not really a bad thing whatsoever. Strootman, Noboa, and Cyprian all did an incredible job in every area of the game, and I loved all 3 of them. They both got goals, they got assists, they win the ball back, and they're honestly a huge trouble for your opponent to deal with. If you have 3 midfielders that are that balanced, it's honestly a huge problem for your opponents, and it made for this team to be quite a big threat. Even in high seasons, I think you could do some damage with this team if you're good at the game, at least a little bit, of course, right? But I guess we can talk about the defenders now. Ruzilan, I think is the name of the left back. I forget how to say it. I really don't know how to say it, honestly. He's a beast, an absolute beast. His defending stats not that high, but it feels like it's in like the mid 80s. He honestly pulls off some great tackles. He uses his physicality. He looks like he's a pretty jacked guy in his in-game picture, and in the actual in-game, he looks pretty big as well, and you feel it in-game too. He feels so strong in-game and physical, and I love that about his card. If you look at his in-game stats, he's so well balanced, and his physical stats, his defending, everything about this card, it was really great for a fullback. I mean, except for the shooting, of course. He doesn't have the greatest of shooting, but that's not a necessity for a fullback. But everything else that I feel like is important on a fullback, he has, and the same can be said about Smolnikov. Really great right back. Everything I said about Ruzilan, I can pretty much say about Smolnikov. They're both great. I set them both to stay back while attacking, which I recommend you guys to do as well. Not that they're not good going forward. I'm sure they could do some damage going forward, but I feel like they're better off, just like any fullback, just staying back where they're meant to be. And then the 2 center backs, De Vrij and Juan Jesus. If you have more coins, you can go for Manolas, but I think Juan Jesus is one of the better budget center backs on the game. He's fast, he's strong, he's great in the air, and don't be fooled by his low-ish defending stat. He pulls off some great tackles in game, and he makes very few mistakes, although you do see his defending quality here and there where he does miss a tackle here and there that other players with higher defending like De Vrij would make. Speaking of De Vrij, he was great. Once again, every single FIFA I love De Vrij. He always impresses me. He always does wonders for me. Despite the fact that he's not the fastest, I don't think that pace really matters on a center back. If you know how to defend, you know how to defend. You don't need pace to defend on this game, I find at least. Even though pace is pretty effective, having great defending and awareness and defensive positioning, I find having a defender who has that defensive positioning is more important than having pace, and De Vrij has that, and he did great, and he also was an aerial threat. And our goalkeeper, Donnarumma, keep in mind I was using this team before EA made the update and put out the update which fixed keepers with some of the issues that they had, and he was still great even before the patch, so I can imagine how good he would be after the patch. He was great, diving reflexes, 6'5" or 6'6". That combination is insane, and he did an amazing job, and I would definitely recommend picking up this team if you have the coins, guys. I'm sure it's even cheaper than the one I picked it up. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching, and have